Hello and welcome to Gladys Cake Kitchen. Today I am making a brown butter, banana and cinnamon layered cake. This 2-layered cake is filled with Russian buttercream, caramel sauce and frosted with more buttercream, a topping of walnuts, banana slices and a drizzle of caramel. There is nothing more simplistic yet so flavorful than this cake, so let's get baking. I am starting with brown butter, which is made from salted butter, melted in a large pan, cooked over medium heat until all the solids in the butter turn brown. This goes through a few stages which will see the melted butter bubble up, then settle as the color changes. But be careful to observe the changes so the butter isn't burnt butter. Brown butter is a nutty, intense flavor that enhances the taste and flavor of baked goods, and this cake is no exception. When the butter is done, it is transferred in a heat-proof bowl to set in the fridge before use. A day later, in a mixing bowl, I've added some butter to the brown butter, caster and brown sugar together, set on a stand mixer to cream for a total of 6 minutes. This recipe can be made using a hand mixer, and full recipe details are on screen, and these will be linked in the description box for you. Whilst the sugar and butter are creaming, combine self-raising flour, a pinch of salt, cinnamon powder, baking powder and sieve before stirring together for a uniform mix. Three minutes into creaming and the mixer is stopped. The bowl is scraped in from the sides and creaming continues for another 3 minutes. When the mixture is pale in color and light in texture, it is then time to add in the eggs. The egg yolks are slightly broken with a fork before being added to the creamed mix on slow speed, which is 1 to 2 on this mixer. But after stirring in the eggs by hand, the mixer is turned up to medium speed for another 2 minutes. When the eggs are mixed in, the mixer is slowed down to full function to add in the cinnamon flour. Flour is to be added in batches of 3, observing closely not to overmix. Just before the flour disappears into the bowl, the mixer is stopped and the third batch of flour with the banana is added and folded in by hand. Mixing has to be done carefully to avoid overmixing, and when complete, the batter is divided into 2 7-inch cake tins and set in a preheated oven at 170 degrees C for 55 minutes to an hour and 5 minutes total. Whilst the cake is off to bake, it's time to make the Russian buttercream, which is made from creaming butter and condensed milk together. Starting with chunks of slightly cold butter added into a glass bowl and whisked until light. This is done for 5 minutes at 2.5 minutes intervals. During the first 2.5 minutes, the butter goes from yellow to pale, and after whisking for 5 minutes total, the condensed milk is added and whisked for another 2 to 3 minutes. And that's our buttercream done. For best result, I used salted butter to enhance the sweetness of the condensed milk, as this buttercream can have a buttery mouthfeel. I also chose this buttercream as the milky aftertaste pairs well with the caramel and the flavors of this cake. When the buttercream is done, the cake is back to be assembled, filling in between the 2 cake layers first with buttercream, then some caramel sauce. But don't worry about the cake looking too perfect, as the rustic looking nature lends itself to the final look of this cake. I am also not looking to overwhelm the cake with too much buttercream, as the flavors have to marry right with a great mouthfeel. I am finding these simple recipes are taking me back to the start of my baking career, when flavors were my focus. I have made and readapted some of my usual recipes, including my red velvet cake. Our cake is set ready with some banana slices to top the cake and some roasted walnut added for texture. Some caramel is drizzled on top, which is dripping on the sides, and that's our cake done. This cake has so much flavor, I couldn't wait to dig into my slice.